Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Today we are at the sunset time, and before we begin I want to remind you that you got this. And maybe you came at the point of your life where you need to decide with your heart, not with your mind, right? Life isolates us. God isolates you for a reason, because we need to be introduced to who we are in order to pave a way that was meant for us. And many times that path was actually covered by doubts and fears projected onto us by others. And that's why you need to go through the process of isolation to experience crystallization. It's the alchemical process where you turn your doubts into stepping stones and your fears, you ditch them. You ditch them because you recognize that they were never yours. What's yours is unexperienced potential, and there's a voice inside of you that is encouraging you to keep manifesting it, to keep experiencing it, to keep walking that path. Not how they said you should walk it, or how it would be appropriate to walk it, but to walk it your way, to walk it as a very authentic being you came here to be an example, to lead a way. Because so many times we get, caught up in these noises of others that we start to believe them, and then we question ourselves from the identity of these noises. Like we kind of identify with what we've heard, and suddenly we question our worth. How many of you are questioning your worth because you're being identified with something you've heard? You're not that, and you know that, right? You know it. So every single day I keep reminding you, hey, walk your way, walk your path. And yeah, here and there we kind of get stuck, right? We get stuck in noises, we get stuck in confusions, we get stuck in ideologies, and we get stuck in beliefs. And then we need some time, like, you see, right now I'm on a solo journey once again. I went on a trip, like here and there I call it a detox trip, where I detox from all the people in my life, even my partner, Maya. I go alone because, you see, we need these alone times so we don't forget who we are, right? And we don't forget who we are when we are alone. Like you may have a partner, you may have a wife, a husband. Solo time is very important because, well, even though, me and Maya, we have a very incredible relationship. I'm so grateful for it. But still the relationship I have with myself is the most important, because if I'm not okay, well, how can I be a good partner to her, right? We need to understand these things because, well, how can you be a support to someone else if you don't even feel being supported by yourself? So God will isolate you because it loves you. He, she, however you define it. I just know there's no definition, so I say it loves you. Life loves you to such a degree that it sometimes isolates you so you can rediscover yourself to a deeper level. You see, you are so multidimensional. Don't get caught up on the surface. Quantum physics says, the string theory, there's one-dimensional frequency field or web of energy. And then inside of this web, consciousness is born, and then inside of consciousness there are levels of dimensions, and you are all of it. You're web, you're the frequency, you're all of it. You're the energy, and you're the one that is experiencing energy. You're all of this. But sometimes we get too defined by the surface, by the ideas, by the thoughts, by the stories, by the emotions, that we forget that actually we're all of that. You're the one that hurt you, and you're the one that has been hurt, right? And usually we experience that through reflection. So whatever we give out will come back to us. Only so we can realize that how we treat others is how we treat ourselves, and how we treat ourselves will treat others. That's why isolation is so important, because you learn to treat yourself with respect. You learn to treat yourself with honor, with integrity, with honesty. You learn to be honest with yourself. And that's how you learn to walk, a very unique way, because you recognize you just can't fit into anything. You can't fit into anything. You're actually not a piece of the puzzle. Look, if the puzzle was made by men and they said you should be like this so you will fit in, many people did that. Many people said yes to it, and now they feel stuck. God didn't create this kind of a puzzle where you need to fit in. That's why it's a web. It's not a puzzle, it's a web, right? And on the web, everything is connected, intertwined, right? So it's not a point to fit in, it's a point to be connected with yourself. And then share this connection with others. And it speaks to you in a very unique way. It has a language that only you can understand. Only you can understand the language of life. To some it comes through thoughts, to others it comes through feelings, through others it comes through visions, through others it comes through movement, like they need to move their bodies and suddenly they feel connected. Like, who are you? Sometimes people need to start talking and they start to feel connection. Sometimes, people start creating art and they feel connection. Maybe it's all of that. Do more of what makes you feel connected. And you will notice there's no need to belong to any group or any field or anything. Maybe you're a leader. Maybe you're someone who will lead the way. And with your path, you're creating other leaders. So, it's not about how hard you try to feel connected. It's about how aware you are of what connects you. I can tell you, I can sit behind the canvas and sometimes I will feel nothing. You see, I'm a painter, so I paint most of the time, right? But sometimes I will sit behind the canvas and nothing will come because I can't force it. But then I will go to places like this, to watch the sunset, to sit down in quietness, to be alone, and I will get inspired. And then I can paint all day long. Sometimes I feel like I have to give a message to you, but I have no idea what I will say. So I begin and the message comes out. So you see, there is no defined way of how something will work. You need to find it for yourself. And once you start looking for it, it will appear. That's how life works. It doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who look for it. And sometimes we're looking at wrong places. Don't be discouraged if that's you. There's actually no wrong places. There are just places that don't spark that life in you. So you also need to choose the right places in your life. You need to choose places that make you feel alive. Like you need to choose activities that make you feel alive. Like you need to choose people that see you for who you are. You need to choose food that makes you feel alive. And maybe sometimes you need to choose no food at all, like fasting. Right now I'm on 24 hours fasting. Maybe I will just keep it up for 3 days, like the last time, because it feels good. Some detoxing, right? Give our body some rest. Isolation, well, a great time to give your body some rest. From talking, from listening, from being distracted, also being distracted by food, and just be with yourself. That's when we notice how much of chaos is, in the minds of ours, right? And well, sometimes this chaos just needs someone to listen. It needs a listener, like a therapist, or, sometimes when I'm coaching people, what they really need is just someone to listen. And sometimes we need to be there for ourselves, to see that maybe we are not the chaos. Maybe we're the ones that have been through chaos, and that chaos influenced us. And now we believe we are lost in it. You're not lost, my friend. You've never been lost. You've just attached yourself to something that's not you. And you know what helps me the most when I feel like that? It's writing. I write a lot, I journal a lot. So whatever I will be, if I feel like I'm in a place where I would be defined by something like certain thoughts or negative thinking or things like that, I start writing like an interview with myself. I ask a question and I answer it. And I go to such a depth that I come to a pure answer. Like, why do you think this way? Okay, but why like this? Okay, but who told you that? And so on and so on. Until I come to the point where I notice that the answer is clear, the answer is pure, and suddenly I feel lighter. Suddenly my emotions are free and I feel content with myself once again. And sometimes I need meditation. Sit in quietness and remind myself that how would it feel to be nothing? Because neuroscientists have discovered that when you focus on nothingness, like an empty space for example, your brain immediately goes into alpha brainwave frequency, and if you stay there focused on nothingness, it will go into theta brainwave frequency. And suddenly you're not defined by your thoughts anymore. Suddenly you become observer, and something interesting may happen in these states. Not always, but sometimes it works. But then don't forget that isolation is also preparation. It's a preparation for a new life. So you come back into your life renewed, crystallized. There's a new wisdom you've gained. There's a new understanding that integrated. There's a new way you see the world. There's a new way you express yourself. Now you're changed. So don't forget that isolation is not meant to stay isolated. It's a preparation. So we can go back into the world renewed. So we can bring something fresh into the world. So we all can be inspired by you. Right? I'm always inspired by those who go through this kind of processes. That's why so many times it's just important to take this kind of time for ourselves and to see where are our blind spots, to see where we look on the world from the place of judgment instead of the place of unconditional love. And to notice that it's also okay to judge. It's also okay to judge. Because sometimes things need to be heard to shake us up a little bit. That's what I'm noticing. Like, you know, sometimes you think, oh, I've done this wrong, or I shouldn't say that, or it shouldn't be done. But then you notice it should be done because it shaked someone. It opened them up. Because, you know, sometimes people say it's only spiritual if you're like this. It's only spiritual if you do it like this. And now I'm recognizing, well, that's just another illusion, right? It's just another illusion. Like, you're already spiritual because you are spirit in a physical form. And that spirit doesn't say, you're only this if you do this, or you're only this if you say this, or you're only this if you eat like this, or whatever. And those are the things we are realizing as we go through the process of isolation, crystallization, and transformation. We recognize that there's no one that can define us. There's no one that can define you. But you need to recognize who you are to understand what it means. No one around you can define you because you're already defined by God, by life, by universe. You're already defined by the great I am, and that's who you are. There's only a question, how well can you live it? How well can you embody it? And well, we are on a plane of demonstration where every single day we're learning to be it. And every time we lose it, every time we fall off the grace, it's a training season. Like going to the gym, like going on your bike or whatever you're doing. I go on my bike and it's my training season. Or when I paint, it's my, you know, it's my training season. It's a playing season, but it's also training season. Every time we do that, we train to be who we are. Okay, maybe that's a sign that we can finish it here. So, my friends, I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power from this magnificent place. Look at that. Thanks to everyone for supporting my art. With that, you're supporting this mission. You can find all of my art in our store, AttractPassion.com, or Etsy store, AttractPassion. And also thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community for more exclusive content. Thank you so much. And till next time, one love.